What's going on, y'all? I'm Czar, and in this video, I want to show you the Rubberband compressor from Mixland. This is brand new, and it's a VCA style compressor that's based off your signal hitting a rubber band. So, if you ever wondered how your audio would sound if it hit a rubber band in compression, now we have a compressor based off that. And so, when I first saw this, I said, this is different. So I'm going to go over these controls and then, of course, let you hear what it sounds like. And some of these controls may not be what you think they are, or probably won't be what you think they are, because after reading the manual, they definitely didn't do what I initially thought they'd do. So let's go over these controls. Let's start on the left here with crunch. This is going to be like a saturation, and this is pre-compressor. That's going to drive some saturation and harmonics into the signal or into the compressor. You have tilt, which you would think is a seesaw tilt EQ, but this is actually, if you turn this clockwise, it's going to be a high shelf, and counterclockwise is going to be a low shelf. So this is two shelving filters based off a tube EQ. We've got oversampling and tension. This is going to be kind of like your ratio here. So you've got tight, I guess we can call this medium, and then loose. Snap. This is going to drive your signal into the compressor. So like in 1176, this has a fixed threshold, and the more you turn up this snap, the more you're driving signal into the compressor. All right, we all know what the mix knob is. We've got auto gain makeup, your output, and then we have attack and release. So this attack goes from 50 microseconds up to 30 milliseconds, and the release goes from 0.5 seconds up to 3.5 seconds. So 500 milliseconds up to 3.5 seconds on the release. And the weight, which you would think will add like some low end punch, but no, the weight is a high pass filter that's going to go in front of the compression detection, so it will let the lows pass through. All right, let's get into how this sounds. All right, so I've got this on some bass right now, and then we'll check it out on some vocals. We'll leave the tilt in the middle for right now. First thing I'm going to do is going to turn up some crunch here. I'm going to turn down the snap. We'll put this in the middle. And, okay, I'm good with the attack and release. So this is without the rubber band compressor. And we'll bring in the rubber band compressor. So it is immediately adding some definition to it that I can tell. But the first thing I want to do is let's turn up this crunch so you can hear how this sounds. I think this is really apparent on bass and low end instruments. So I'm just going to slowly turn this up here. All right, so you can definitely go too far with the crunch there. Let's go through these tensions and hear the difference on that. We'll start with the tight. All right, and you'll notice that we don't have a gain reduction meter here. You're going to judge your gain reduction by how far down the rubber band is bending downwards. Okay, attack, release, weight. I'm not really going to use the weight on this here. On the vocals here, we'll take a look at this tilt. So let's move on over to the vocals. All right, so I've got a vocal and saxophone here, and we have the rubber band compressor just on the vocal. I'm going to bypass it and let you hear some of the vocal.
Daylight, I wake up feeling like you won't play right. I
here's with the rubber band compressor.
Daylight, I wake up feeling like you won't play right. I usually know, but now it just don't feel right.
All right, so let's mess with some of these controls. I'm going to bring in a little bit of crunch, but mostly we're going to look at the tilt EQ on this vocal. So remember, counterclockwise, going to the left is going to bring up a low shelf. It's going to make it darker. Bringing up to the right or clockwise is going to be a high shelf. And remember, this is before the compressor. So if you bring up the lows or bring up the highs, you're going to be compressing those frequencies more. Let's take a listen to that.
Daylight, I wake up feeling like you won't play right. I usually know, but now it just don't feel right. It made me put away my pride. So long, you made a show to wait for so long.
All right, so I really like the way that on the high end that it's opening it up on the high end. Again, I feel like all the way is too much, but maybe somewhere like, I mean, if we're thinking of a clock, like 3 o'clock here, sounds really good on this. Well, let's go through the tensions here.
Daylight, I wake up feeling like you won't play right. I usually know, but now it just don't feel right. It made me put away my pride. So long.
So when I'm hearing on the loose that it's making the vocals sit back a little bit, I think I like it here in the middle. Let's turn up some crunch.
So long, you made a show to wait for so long. You make it hard for a girl like that to go on. I'm wishing I could make you mine, yeah.
All right, starting to hear a little distortion there. I'm gonna play it through. I like this crunch, just adding a little bit here. So I'm gonna play this, and let's bring it in and out, and just hear what the rubber band compressor is doing.
Daylight, I wake up feeling like you won't play right. I usually know, but now it just don't feel right. It made me put away my pride. So long, you made a show to wait for so long. You make it hard for a girl like that to go on. I'm wishing I could make you mine, yeah.
So my final thoughts on the rubber band compressor. The first thing that you realize here, this is something different. This is something unique, and I appreciate Mixland bringing us something that is different. And once you really learn this compressor, which doesn't take long to learn, just once you understand what all of the parameters and features are and controls on here, you can do a lot with this compressor. You can bring things forward, you can make things sit back, and you can do it very easily and quickly versus going through ratios and setting it that way. So I adjusted to this pretty quickly. I am pretty much a control freak when it comes to compressors. I like to see ratios, my gain reduction, and know exactly what I'm doing. But once I got got the hang of using this compressor, I did enjoy it, and I do enjoy using it. And having the saturation and tilt EQ, you can pretty much think of this technically as a channel strip, if you want to think of it that way. Having the saturation and EQ, even though it's not like a parametric EQ, but having the saturation and EQ on here, I got this vocal to a very usable, pretty much mix ready result without adding any additional EQing, any cutting of frequencies. just a little high-end boost here and just a little bit of saturation and very good sounding vocal. Pretty much, like I said, mix ready here. So what would I change about the rubber band compressor? So I told you I'm kind of a control freak when it comes to compression. So I would like to see some a millisecond on the attack and release, just so you can know exactly what milliseconds or seconds you have the attack and release set to. Also would like to see dB on the tilt, so you can just know how many dB you're going, whether to the left or right. And also noticed that in Studio One you don't have the compression meter in the mixer for this compressor, so I would like to see that as well. And lastly, I would like to see a button or a way to take the tilt EQ post compression, just so you can have the option to place it before or after the compression. And the same way with the crunch, I would like to place that before or after the compression, just to hear how that would affect the sound. And this compressor is only $19, and of course I'll have a link in the description so you can check it out. All right. If you enjoyed this video, I appreciate a thumbs up. If you want to continue to see content from me, then you know what to do. Any questions, comments, let me know, and I'll catch y'all next time.